So welcome to Conversations with Melissa. So we want to thank our host, RenaFi. RenaFi provides practical, research-based advice courses and peer support, focusing on the underlying drivers of our ADHD behavior. We provide a holistic program that serves to help you thrive with ADHD, not in spite of it. Visit RenaFi, RenaF as in Frank, I.com to learn more about what we have to offer. And remember to check out our YouTube channel for ADHD resources and information. Today, we're speaking with a dear friend, Mike Fedel.
It's all just so important to try to say, I don't have to be right all the time. Let me see, where are you coming from? What are you saying? What do we really need? And then the other trick that I'll recommend to any of you with communication is step back, take a pause, just say, I'll get back to you in a half hour. I'll get back to you tomorrow. I have found so often that the next morning, or even after walking out to the car and back, everything looks different. I think that's part of our engagement. I think it's part of the way we interact with people. So even just stepping away for a minute often gets you surprising amount of perspective.
It is the number one best strategy. If you can find ways to help yourself pause, I think we'll come back to it probably 2 or 3 more times.
Yes.
The pausing to calm yourself down, re-engage the part of your brain that's thinking and not just emoting or hurt. Listening. And that's the other thing I hear in the story that you told about the book is the requirements. Your wife's requirements were Audible and book,
Yep.
right? Audible account and book. And
Yep.
your requirements were Audible's got, how'd you use shackles, right?
That's right. Yes, exactly. Yes, shackles.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to own that book. I don't want to be renting it from them for a bunch of money. I'm going to bring I'll bring the slide back because there's not a lot more slides in here, you guys, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to try to apply some of the ideas that I put in that bullet list to those stories. Okay. So again, this one came out of the partner group some years ago. Why did he lie to me?
Can we take one second thing? I just want to read something else from the chat, which was
For sure.
to avoid overwhelm, a friend suggested I have a visual of only 2 tasks that I need to accomplish next and avoid looking at a big long list. Because a long list can be overwhelming. And then you probably are doing 15 other things that you didn't write down too, which is what we had said earlier.
Yeah.
But that idea of limiting what you write down, that you might have feelings around that list, to make the list doable. I'm sorry, Mike, go on.
No. And you reminded me of something else. Another a corollary to that I saw was I try to have, here's my 2 or 3 things. And then another place where I can jot down, these are things I am not doing right now. Because when they bubble up in the back of your head, they become very important because that's what's in my head right now. So I have also developed a habit, not all the time, but I try, of writing down. This came up, I'm not doing this right now, so that I can actually see it and it goes away. This observation, I think, can be really helpful. So the lying, when she called him and said, did you return the DVD yet? He is hearing, I know you're incompetent. I doubt you did it. I can't count on you for anything. So I'm going to keep calling you until you tell me that you did it. And clearly not what she was doing. I mean, often, people are trying to be helpful for one thing, and just to know, did the darn thing get returned? Not that it's an attack and not that, oh, I can't trust you for anything. Sometimes, believe it or not, people are just asking. But when the response is, yes, I did, and you actually didn't, I'm sorry, when you get called out as lying, you kind of got to accept that. Yes, I lied to you. And that's a hard thing to say because, again, check this against your own experience. I think we will spend so much time explaining why it's not quite a lie. I was going to just own it. Just say, you're right. I shouldn't have said that I did, and move on. So the time traveling, again, I know I'm going to do it soon, therefore I might as well say I've done it. Magical thinking, I'm going to do it. So I'm just living in the reality in which I've already returned it. And I don't know if
Well,
any of
also,
the others.
there's that thing where it feels like nagging. If you've been called 3 times, did you return the thing to Redbox? And you think, if I could stop this nagging by saying it's done,
Yes.
and then I really, really have to do it. But you still have this ADD, and if you didn't write down to do it, or you have no reminder to do it, or you're still in the wishful thinking that it's going to happen. I mean, if you say I'm paying that bill like ING, you better be online paying the bill.
Yes. It's present tense. Yes. This reminds me too of the article that came out a few years ago about freeze, flight, or fib. That sometimes we will tell what they want to hear just as a self-defense measure. I don't need the hassle. I don't want to be attacked. And I feel bad that I haven't done it yet. I feel guilty I haven't done it. Here's another thing I failed at. The article was Monica Hassel and I think Barb Hudson had written it. Barbara somebody had written it. And it was geared towards kids. Why do my kids lie to me? But everything in that article just spoke to me directly as an adult who has possibly told a tiny little white lie every now and then. But a lot of times it's reflexive self-defense. And I think knowing that, knowing that these are where they may come from is helpful, not just to the person you're talking to. Your boss says, did you get that report in? You say, oh, yeah, because it's on your computer and you're almost done. Well, you really shouldn't be saying yeah. All right, that was the first one. The second one, my buddies, hey, you say one thing, you do something else, you make commitments. I sat around all weekend waiting. The verbal processing is part of it. The blurting, no filtering. I have learned, and I've trained my friends, that unless we put a date, a time, and a location on it, just assume I'm thinking out loud. And it's actually worked. It's been 4 or 5 years. We don't.
So that was the thing where you altered your environment. You looked out to these people. These are not people you've never met before. You're never going to see. They're people who are in your life all the time. Yes. And you say, hey, hear me this way.
Yes.
And that you can kind of change the universe, your universe to accommodate you more. Yeah. Well, that's brilliant.
I think too, what's important about that too is to keep it at the level, not of you're accommodating my ADHD, but we'd put it at a level of, oh my God, I didn't know that's what you were saying. Oh my God, I didn't know that's what you were hearing. So it became not them accommodating me. I felt just as much like I'm accommodating them. And I think that's another important thing, is to keep this power dynamic out of these things. We are both realizing something about our communication styles and adapting our styles to communicate better. I am not tolerating their neurotypicalness, and they are not tolerating my ADHD. We are finding common ground between our communication styles. And I think that's an important thing to have underneath that too. Because then it's not like I'm asking a favor. It's like we're equals meeting on common ground.
Right. This is what works for me. This is what works for you.
Yep.
And we are long-term. We have history. This is, we're living, our relationship isn't going anywhere.
Right.
There's a couple things in chat I'd like to read out. So
yes, please.
You want to put any, this one's really lovely. Sometimes I ask my partner to remind me that I asked them, so that I don't feel nagged, which is really helpful, because sometimes we'll ask our partner to remind us, they remind us, and then we yell at them.
Yes. Yes. Yep. It's a thing.
What are you telling me to go to bed for? Well, you told me you wanted to go to bed at 10. Aren't I helping you?
Yep. And I just know how frustrating that is. Yeah, I've been there plenty of times. And also got, nope, I'm not going to remind you because I know what happens. Right. That's a great one. Was there more?
There is one I want to table until later, but I want to say it out loud so we can remember it, which is any tips for making sure we get our exercise daily, that happens.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
I can do that.
And
So
there's something great about blurting out an honest answer, and you don't understand the social dynamics that maybe a correction wasn't really required there or desired. I think we should start a PR firm for ADHD people to deal with neurotypicals. Please speak to my spokesperson or neurotranslator regarding that issue.
my
Like
anger
Andrew
translator, like
Translator.
the SNL skit. Yeah, the blurting. So this was interesting too. A couple of years ago, I got really upset with person A giving advice to person B. I won't say who. But so I went and I watched a bunch of YouTube videos about what's the difference between giving well-intentioned advice versus nagging versus trying to control the other person. And none of this was around neurodiversity, ADHD. These were just communication skills. And I must have watched a dozen videos and read, I don't know, another dozen articles. And every single one of them said, don't give unsolicited advice. Every single one of them. And I just found that to be so relieving, because now it's not the ADHD. It's just that just don't do it. Because I was so much hearing when things like that came to me, I was hearing that as, well, I'll help you because you have ADHD and I don't, so I'll help you out. And regardless of whether that was true or not, I didn't want to hear it. So anyway, that's kind of a side thing, but that first one is critical. I've told both my wife and my daughter, I've said, if there are days when you see me, behaving oddly, you are free to say, Dad, did you take your meds today? Because I know that we're not good self-observers, and having somebody else giving them permission to say that. But you're right. I've also said, and you can remind me that I said that was okay.